Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily. It's Des here. The live questions and answers. Of course, that's what happens every week at this time. Really looking forward to getting stuck into those. Got some good questions to go at today. Really appreciate getting those. So as ever, thank you to everybody who's interacting this way. Really, really good to have that. Before I get going, just let you know, still feeling good about everything that's going off. As ever on a Thursday, just finished the coaching session. Really, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed getting out there. A bit cooler. It's getting a bit darker. Having to adjust it slightly, but before sending some of the guys off to the Manchester Marathon, not actually sending them, I'm going with them, but before they go off to do that, it was just a lighter session just to sort of ease into the weekend and sort of get them focused on what they're doing, and that's what it's all about. It's just about looking forward to the things that we've got to do, and for them, it's a marathon, So really sort of enjoyed that, It's nice to be around people who are doing amazing things. Whilst I've got a few frustrations myself, it's absolutely brilliant to see what people are doing and try and make the absolute most of it. Further to that, of course, everything's ticking over. Found myself really, really busy again after that few weeks of doing really exciting and interested and different things. I was reflecting on September. I've done that almost all week through DOdaily this week, but I was reflecting on it sort of in depth this afternoon, looking back at what I'd done, and I can't actually believe how much I did do. When I started kind of listing it in my head, I was like, wow, I didn't find time to do anything else. But I'm always trying to push on. I'm always trying to do what I can, and do all these new things and do them well. That's all part of the process here. So yeah, it's been a great time, but found myself really, really busy. But by making some of the small changes I've done, I've spoke about sort of gearing towards the end of the year, trying to make improvements on Monday motivation. I kind of went back to a place to sort of get my mind focused on what I needed to do, and it's started to make the small changes and it's making a difference. I can feel my productivity going up, my positivity, getting even higher. It's easy sometimes after sort of big things happen and big events to sort of get a little bit sort of down about things when everything goes back to normal, but definitely not feeling that. Definitely feeling good about what I'm doing and just pushing on to the next thing, really. Like I say, this weekend, I'm up in Manchester supporting the guys. I won't talk too much about that because it actually creeps into one of the questions today. But then I'm sort of all geared to coming back and getting into my own sort of new training regime, looking forward to the end of the year and taking on a couple of events myself, hopefully back to some kind of form that I have done in the past. Whilst times aren't everything, it's important to see that little bit of progress. And through everything I do, that's all I'm trying to sort of prove, I guess, through DOdaily, just showing some progress along the way and enjoying what I do. Of course, as it's a live session today, if you've got any comments to make, please pop them in the comments. I'll try and bring them up or respond to them the best I can. Trying to sort of expand on just talking one way here. So it's all a learning curve, but I'll try my best. So if you've got anything to say, anything to ask, anything to add to any of the questions, or any comments whatsoever to make, good, bad, or indifferent, I really, really appreciate those. And of course, if you enjoy the videos, please give it a thumbs up, and share them. Let people know if you feel anybody could take anything from what I say. I really appreciate it when people are passing on the message. I spoke this week. I don't always talk about it, but it is nice when the subscribers are creeping up. When the comments and the interactions are there, it's really sort of makes you feel really worthwhile. And I know it's worthwhile, don't get me wrong, but it makes it feel really sort of nice. And we all like a bit of sort of feedback from time to time, and that's all I'm kind of suggesting there. And of course, do subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, get all the latest content really pleased, as I've been saying, with some of the stuff that's been put out recently. It's a little bit different. Of course, I work off the daily motivation. So some days you get me talking, some days you get a vlog. Tomorrow morning I'll be out walking, all these little things, what can really sort of get stuck into, try and mix it up a little bit and just offer something that little bit different. It's not a conventional YouTube channel. I'm not trying to sort of drill home about the neurology of mental health and how we should do this and how you should do that. I'm trying not to preach. I just want to sort of pass on little bits of information which tend to work for me, and that's all that matters, really, isn't it? It's about what works for you. So without sort of going on too much about me, I'll get stuck into some of your responses from last week. Of course, I asked that question, what are your that's not what I ask. I asked the question, what was your favourite part of the London Marathon? Some of the guys I've mentioned already, the guys are going up to Manchester this weekend, to take part. But last weekend was the London Marathon. I spoke about it a lot on Tuesday. We had 3 ladies from the running club take part. All of them absolutely smashed it, and for me as a runner, even before I was a runner, I remember really sort of being taken by the London Marathon, a real highlight in the year. You don't have to sort of get up and do it yourself to enjoy it. One of the real sort of TV moments for me, and something I always sort of kind of dreamt to do, but never really thought it was realistic until I actually trained for it and did it. An amazing experience. So really, really was. One of the guys who took part, Hannah, I think she's still riding that wave of enthusiasm. She actually replied 4 times. The first one, the crowds were fantastic and really did help get around. Definitely the case, isn't it? I remember it myself. Somebody told me before I did the London Marathon, in the last sort of 300 yards, that your name will be shouted out sort of hundreds and hundreds of times. And it was like, yeah, whatever. But it actually was, and it gets you through and it makes you feel amazing. Whenever you're doing a run, doing a race, it just picks you up that little bit, and gets you through. So I can definitely sort of familiarise with that, Hannah. And next response, also the support from Do Running was important. She got lots of messages. We've got WhatsApp groups. We've got a closed Facebook group through Do Running. All the links are at the bottom of the video to this. As you can see going across the screen. So if you want to check out Do Running and the groups there, of course it's my sort of passion, drive to sort of encourage people to take part in activity as well, all this wellbeing side through DOdaily. She said the support was fantastic. Like I said, I saw that firsthand. It definitely was. Lots of the guys got behind her in her efforts there. A next response, which is quite a nice one, but I thought I'd pop it on there. She couldn't have done it all without you all, and especially the coaching. At the end of the day, what I'll say about that, whilst that's a nice comment sort of aimed in my direction, Hannah has to put the work in. She's worked really, really hard this year, and it's made me really proud watching this sort of develop and watching people build themselves up to a position where they feel a lot better about doing these things. They're really daunting sort of prospects, even for people who go out and run 5K, 10K, half marathons. Taking that step to do a marathon, it's a massive step. So watching sort of Hannah progress, and we always talk now on a Thursday about when we started in January, -7 at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. We've come a long way since then, and there's been a lot of hard work put in. And whilst I'm pleased with what I do there, and I'm really proud of Hannah, it's all about what she's done and what the rest of the guys have done to sort of push each other through and make the absolute most of it. And the last one, she says it herself. It was extremely well organised and run like clockwork. It definitely is. It's like a military operation, the London Marathon. You go into it sort of half expecting it to be like some of these localised events, thinking, oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? But they've got everything covered, from stepping into the expo at the Excel, to sort of crossing the line and getting your medal and picking your bag up. You know, everything is. Everything runs like clockwork, like Hannah says. It's absolutely amazing. So lots of sort of feedback there from Hannah. Really, really appreciate those responses. Brilliant to sort of get, you know, really, really great to see. Dawn's commented saying she's have to enter the ballot for next year. Definitely. So you should. Someone who said she wouldn't do a marathon, but you've definitely got to get involved. And Ben's commented, he's watching, didn't get to see the marathon on Sunday, but favourite memory seeing Rachel on the course when she did it in 2018. I was actually spectating that day as well, and I saw Rachel on the course. A really sort of great moment. You know, I think I saw her at 18 miles. Brilliant to see, and of course Ben seeing his partner finish. I was watching Kay that day, so I know how special it is. Great comment, Ben. So thank you for that. Back to the sort of comments we'd already received. Kay says she loved it. It's made her determined to get a place next time. Me and Kay have got big plans, of course. It's been well documented in the last couple of weeks that we're getting married next year. So we're looking at possibly doing something. We haven't got a date, but possibly sort of getting married, then doing some events and perhaps capping it off with London before going on a holiday. So that'd be a really nice period this time next year as well. So we're determined to get a place in some shape or form. We'll definitely be in the ballot, but perhaps do some more charity work to get that as well. It's worth the effort. You know, I always say London Marathon, you know, it's like a marathon is like a part-time job. The training you have to put in, it's like having a second part-time job with the fundraising efforts. But once you've done it, you know, and you've raised lots of money for charity and you've gone and run it and been epic and you've enjoyed the experience, it's worth every single penny, every single second you put into it. It's absolutely amazing. Megan says seeing all the landmarks is one of her favourites. Of course, that's the TV experience, isn't it? Watching watching it on the TV, watching the runners go around the Cutty Sark over the Tower Bridge. It's brilliant when you're there as well, but watching them do that is absolutely brilliant. And finally, Dawn said she really enjoyed tracking her friends. Us runners tend to log into the app, you know, and check how all other runners are doing. Not that we're competitive or anything, you know. It's not always competitive, but there's always that little bit of an element to it, whatever anyone tells you. But it's great to see them, great to encourage them, you know, and seeing them do really great times, you know, after lots of great training. It's absolutely brilliant. Sorry, there's one more. Tom says watching people cross the finish line has made him want to sign up for another race. Absolutely, you know, that's be inspired, I think they say on the BBC, you know, and that's what I'm always trying to encourage you. Just be inspired by what you see, you know, just trying to pass on little bits of information, and when you can sort of take something from it, you know, don't be stubborn, don't be stuck up. Just take it, enjoy the same experience. If you don't sort of throw yourself into these things, you're not really giving yourself a chance to sort of be happy, you know, do achieve things, you know. You've got to put yourself out there, you know. When you feel you've done something, I touched on myself there was a time I never thought I could do London, you know. When I'd done it, all these emotions come out. I was actually speaking to Hannah, I'm sure she won't mind me saying, before the race last week, sort of on the Saturday night, saying that the London Marathon itself is so much more than just a day, you know. It's everything. And there was a quote I popped up in the week about you don't finish the race the same person you started it, and it's absolutely that, you know. It does so much, and it's all the achievement, you know, all the hard work, all the uncomfort, you know, putting yourself out there, realizing you can do things. So like I said there, be inspired. And that's all that was about. All that question is just to try and sort of encourage you to sort of look on. You know, it's not all about going running it. There's different ways to sort of take it in. There's different ways to realize that you can do so much more, you know, and you can try and make a difference in your own life. And that's what that's about. Watching others achieve things always makes us do that. If we didn't look on at others, we're all inspired by someone, even those that pretend they're not. We all are. So that's all that's about, like I say. Moving into the questions. Once again, thank you for that input and thank you for these questions. Kay has asked me the question, as she tends to do just before I come on. She says, how do you think you'll feel being a spectator at the Manchester Marathon when you originally planned to do it? Well, to be honest, I've kind of got used to the idea now. I made a decision a couple of months ago that the injury wasn't standing up to any of my runs. I kept getting back on it. I'd have a good couple of days, feel like I'd cracked it. I was back on it, and then it'd break down. But there was a point where I said, right, I can't do it. I've got to get this right, like a sort of penny drop moment. And I'll be honest with you, I said this sort of publicly last night when I was at the running group. I actually then went and ran an 11-mile run before the before the Great North Run, and it gave me so much confidence. I felt like I could almost take part in the marathon again if I'd progressed nicely over the next couple of weeks. I went into the Great North Run on the back of that and felt fine. I sort of improved my time slightly. My fitness let me down a little bit, of course, not doing what I'd hoped. But it was actually between that sort of training run where I felt confident about the Great North Run and thinking, if I keep progressing, perhaps I can do the Manchester Marathon, and actually completing the Great North Run to a challenge I'd set myself, which beforehand I'd said, well, if I do that, I'll train to do it then. If that makes sense. And achieving it made me realise that I shouldn't do it. It made me realise that I definitely shouldn't do it, because I'd been sort of doing the right thing in those periods, not doing too much, not running too hard, not putting in too much pressure onto the injury. And by achieving that target, I thought I need to keep working slowly. It's always advisable anyway, but sometimes we all make a decision that we know is probably not best, but we're just eager to do things and anxious. I want to get another marathon in. I'd love to do one this year because I've done one for the last 4 years, so at least one for the last 4 years. So I'd love to kind of carry that on, whilst I feel I'm still sort of young enough to do it, although you're never too old. But you know what I mean? I'd like to sort of keep that streak going. But I sort of come to terms with it more so when I realise that I am actually making progress again. Like I say, sort of from the Great North Run, I did the Robin Hood half and didn't feel as good. So I've definitely made the right decision in those terms. Will I feel fantastic on the day? I think so. I won't feel any envy. I'm frustrated with the injury still. I'm frustrated with the way it's going, and I'll probably sort of, watching everybody finish, wish I was out there. But it won't sort of take anything away from the support I'll give to the others. Really looking forward, like I say, to watching those guys who've done so well recently, who've trained so hard, really watching them sort of push on, try and get a great time, try and complete it first of all, of course, but if they can get a great time and take something a little bit more away from it, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And I'm always the one for the celebration. So whether I've done it or not, I'll be making the most of the celebrations. What I have done, around the marathon, of course, I'm going away for the weekend, and it's not about me whatsoever, but I planned a couple of things in just to sort of make the weekend interesting for me. I like to go to a different non-league football ground. I love football, as I've said many times on here, but just gonna sneak off on Saturday afternoon, take Ian and Simon, two of the guys who I'm supporting, off to football. That will help them. They'll be sort of stood still, not doing too much, but also enjoying what they do. And I'm going to be sort of visiting the football museum in Manchester as well. So a lot of football, but it's just things to sort of fill out my weekend as well, and things I can look forward to. And again, it's not about me, but it's got to work for everybody, isn't it? If everybody's in great spirit, if I'm in good spirit, everybody who's up there as a group, there'll be 7 or 8 of us as a group, really trying to make the most of it, So if everybody's getting something, that's what it's about, isn't it? Finding a way for it to work for everyone. So really looking forward to the weekend. So yeah, the short answer is I'll be okay. I'll be frustrated, but that won't take anything away. Got a couple of comments here. NFFC Owen says, my mum was supposed to be doing Manchester, but she pulled out because she doesn't want to injure herself. And I was going to go as well. My hotel room would have been Old Trafford. The view would have been Old Trafford, sorry. I know exactly what hotel that is, Owen. Sad to hear that your mum can't do it as well. I'm in the same position, but I'm sure when she gets better, she can give it another go. So thanks for that comment there. Really appreciate getting that. Moving on to question 2. Just before I do, if you've got any comments about the Manchester marathons, anything you'd like to add, just like Owen there and Dawn and Ben before, please pop it in the comments. I'll do my best to read that out. Question 2, are you looking forward to getting back to the Robin Hood way after a few weeks off? This is from Mark. Of course, on a Friday morning, it's all about wake up to walk. Getting up particularly early, it's getting a little bit more difficult now. But what I do is give myself that accountability of getting out there, doing DOdaily early, signing off for the week, looking forward to the weekend, looking back at the week gone by, all trying to sort of break everything down to continue the positivity or to sort of forget about the bad stuff if there has been bad stuff. Not much of that sort of floating around at the moment. But the answer to the question, absolutely. I had an amazing sort of weekend last weekend, visiting the Norfolk coast. We sort of whistle-stop toured along it until we got to our final destination. Some absolutely brilliant places. And it's been great to have a couple of weeks away, to be honest. Although I do need to get it complete now. I'm about 90% sort of in. It's getting a bit tougher because it's a lot further away from home. North Notts is about 40, 50 miles now. So I have to get up there in the morning, get going, get some miles in. But I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting back. Kind of missed it in a way. It's been a little bit of a taster for when I do finish it in its entirety. But that's just the challenge, isn't it? It's about getting it done. There was never any rush. I probably started it, I think it's probably March, end of March, start of April. And I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Seeing Nottinghamshire from every which angle it seems, seeing things I've never seen before, learning things, as well as all those things I said about getting up, the accountability, the chance to sort of be alone with my thoughts, the fresh air. Already touched on it's getting a lot fresher, isn't it? So whilst it's going to be tricky getting out of bed in the dark, last time I went there it was dark, and that was 2 weeks ago. So it's definitely going to be dark today. Tomorrow. I'm probably going to be starting in the dark as well, the walk. So that's going to be interesting. I better dig my head torch out. But what an amazing time of year to be out early. Some of the photos I take at this time of year, absolutely stunning, and that's something else I get enjoyment from. So really, really looking forward to it. Couple of weeks, 1 week because I was busy, and then one because I was away. I was down by the Trent here in Nottingham, and then on Stanton. Somewhere I've definitely got to go back. And when it's probably a bit calmer, got absolutely battered by the elements, but that doesn't matter, does it? It's about getting the activity in, and really love doing that, especially first thing. I still need to do it a lot more. I've spoke about this since day one on DOdaily, but when I'm really, really at it, something I'm hoping to creep in over the next couple of weeks. Worst time of year to go again with it, when it's dark and cold and difficult to get from under the duvet, but something I really want to sort of get back to, getting up early, getting out there, getting a run or walking, and really, really attacking the day. Don't forget to tune into that tomorrow. Really sort of have my work cut out on a Friday morning to get that done and get it on. But it's one of my favourites of the week. Really, really enjoy it. Thanks for the question, Mark. And the final question today is, do you have any non-running related targets for the rest of 2021? And this comes from Rachel. I'm always working to targets. I mentioned already the fact I've sort of taken a bit of time, not time off from the running, but I'm not doing the Manchester Marathon to try and prepare myself for half marathons in November. Give myself a couple of weeks to sort of almost reset and start building back in. I mentioned there about the sleeping, waking up. Sorry, I'd like to start getting up earlier. I've realised this week I've been a lot better already just by making one or two diet changes, not indulging too much not indulging in too much alcohol over the weekend. It's made me feel a lot better and made it a lot easier to get up. So that's a definite target. I'll probably put a time on it. I've been a bit easy on myself this week with that one. And whilst I've got up earlier, I'll probably put some time in, and so I've got to get out of bed, got to get some activity in before I set about the day every day. That's one of my real things I'm going to go at. And then there'll be sort of eating and drinking sort of things where I possibly won't eat meat. That's one of the things I've said. I'm not going to eat meat sort of after this weekend. Try and see how long that goes throughout the year. It was something I tried earlier in the year. Got me into a real good position. It helped me lose weight. That's a definite target. I might put a number on that as well. I'm being a little bit vague on this one because I'm going to do something slightly different with the throwback question this week, and I'm probably going to regret this, but the throwback question this week, and I'm going to skip on quickly from that, is set me a realistic target for the rest of 2021. Like I say, I've probably left myself wide open and got people trying to sort of test me and push me to my limits. But if there's anything you think that's achievable that I should be doing, if you've been watching and think, well, he talks about this and he talks about that and he's talking out of his arse sometimes, there you go. There's your chance to sort of set me a target, give me something to go at. Like I say, make it realistic and I'll give it a go. Love being accountable. I love sort of proving to myself I can do things proving to other people. Quite stubborn in that sense, without being arrogant, I hope. But I'm quite stubborn. I need to sort of tick things off. It's one of the reasons I kind of do this. I talk every day. I want to be on at a certain time. I want to do it daily. People said to me, have you thought about changing it? Absolutely at times. But I like the fact it sort of helps me, it keeps me regular, it keeps me consistent, and it helps me like in the ways I always talk about, sort of mentally and staying on top of things. Dawn's posted a comment there. I thought she'd be one of the first to comment. Oh, this is going to be fun. Like I say, make sure it's realistic. Make sure it's not about Christmas. Make sure it's not about weddings. And then anything goes really, as long as that's the case. So, like I say, I've probably really set myself up, but set me a realistic target for 2021. If anyone wants to do that, drop it in the comments. I'd love to sort of give it a try at least. If you give me a challenge, I'll do it. If I don't, I'll probably set myself up even more now. You can give me a forfeit. I'm sure when Mr. Daw sees that, he'll be all over that. He loves giving out forfeits on his YouTube channel. So, yeah, set me a target. Anything around well-being, health, physical activity. I'm not going to go out and run 57 miles. I'm not going to lose 14 stone in the next 10 weeks of the year. But anything realistic, and like I say, if I don't do it, if I accept it and don't do it, I'll put that disclaimer in. I'll let you set me a forfeit too. I'm not sure this is going the right way now, so I'm going to look to wrap up shortly. If you've got any questions, any targets, of course, like I just said, any questions about absolutely anything, good variation there. Of course, I love my running, I love my activity, I love sort of getting stuck into well-being and trying to work off this self-development thing and trying to sort of progress with the YouTube channel and become a bit more articulate. All these things, you know. If you've got anything to add to the channel, please drop me an email, des@DOrunning, of course, all throughout the video. The links have been going across the bottom of the screen there. I'd love to receive them. It really does help on a Thursday when I know people are checking in. Like I say, so 1 or 2 new names pop up today, what I've not seen before. That's interesting. Kay's dropped a comment from the bath today. She's not out for a walk. She's in the bath. You can sense the nerves in your voice. I know I've probably set myself up too much there. But there you go. Always up for the challenge. Always up for doing something different. Always prepared to get out of my comfort zone. We started the episode today by talking about comfort zones and marathons and how much it takes to get out of them, didn't we? You know, I'm going to end it in exactly the same way. It's about sort of getting out of your comfort zone, achieving things, whether they're small things, small wins, or whether they're things you never thought you could do. When you've done them, you feel absolutely amazing. If I can add that onto everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks, you know, it's going to be a strong finish to 2021, isn't it? So until wake up to walk, first thing in the morning, look forward to getting that posted up, getting in a few more miles along the Robin Hood Way. You know, as I said, they're really excited about that. It's time to sort of go and mull over everything I've said. Probably watch it back and think, what did you say that for? But until then, as ever, just doing it.